Ever wondered how some companies just get it right? You know, how they create these breakthrough products that feel like they were made just for you? Well, it's usually not just a lucky guess. A lot of them use this really powerful method called design thinking. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain and demystify it. Let's jump in. So let's start with a really simple but powerful question. What if, before we even thought about technology or spreadsheets or business goals, what if we just started every single project by trying to truly understand the people we're trying to help? That one little shift in perspective, well, it's the engine behind everything we're about to talk about. And that brings us right to the core definition. See, design thinking isn't just a checklist or a series of steps. It's a mindset. It's a whole philosophy, really, that puts human beings smack dab in the center of the innovation process. The goal isn't just to build a thing, it's to create a meaningful, intuitive experience for the actual person who's going to use it. To really get this, we have to start with the philosophy behind the process. So, think of the design thinking mindset as your compass, right? It's that internal guide that orients every decision you make, always pointing you back towards what the user actually needs, their true north. A huge part of this mindset is about collaboration. Design thinking just thrives when you bring together people with totally different backgrounds and skills, engineers, artists, business experts, sociologists. When you mix all those different viewpoints together, the solutions that pop out are just so much richer and stronger than anything one person could have cooked up on their own. Another thing you've got to know is that this process can be a little messy. It's definitely not a straight line from point A to point B. It's more like a cycle, a loop. You try something, you get feedback, you tweak it, and you try again. It's this constant rhythm of learning and improving, which means you're always getting closer to a solution that actually works in the real world. And this gets to the heart of how this mindset treats failure. In design thinking, a failed experiment isn't a bad thing at all. It's just data. It's seen as a totally essential part of learning what doesn't work, which, let's be honest, is just as important as learning what does. And finally, this whole mindset is just fundamentally optimistic. It's solution-based. So instead of getting totally bogged down analyzing a problem to death, the focus is all on actively creating practical, innovative solutions. It's all about asking, okay, how might we? And then just exploring what's possible. All right, so if the mindset is our compass, then this 5-stage framework, well, that's our map. It gives us a clear, actionable path to follow that takes us all the way from understanding the user to delivering a solution that's been tested. So let's walk through it. And here they are. Empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. That's the roadmap. Now, let's break down what actually happens in each one of these stages. Okay, step 1, empathize. Everything, and I really do mean everything, starts right here. The goal is simple, but it's also incredibly deep, to genuinely, truly understand the people you're designing for. This means you have to park your own assumptions at the door and try to see the world completely through their eyes. So how do we actually do that? Well, it's a hands-on thing. Think about the early days of Airbnb. The founders didn't just send out a survey. No way. They actually flew to New York, they lived with their hosts, they took the photos of the apartments themselves. By actually being there, in their users' world, they found these amazing insights that they would have completely missed if they had just stayed in their office making assumptions. Okay, once we've soaked up all those human stories and insights, we move on to the define stage. This is where we sift through everything we learned and put it all together to figure out the right problem to solve. And believe me, getting this part wrong means you end up solving a problem that nobody actually has. The big goal here is to write a clear problem statement, but from the user's perspective. So for Airbnb, the problem wasn't, we need to get more bookings. The real problem was, hosts don't know how to present their homes in a way that makes guests feel safe and builds trust. See how that completely flips the script? It shifts the focus from what the company wants to what the user actually needs. All right, now that we have a super clear problem, we get to enter the ideate stage. This is the fun part. This is the big, creative, messy phase where we just generate as many potential solutions as we can possibly think of. It's like a creative explosion. The golden rule in this stage, quantity over quality. Seriously, the team's job is to just generate a tidal wave of ideas, especially the weird, wild, out there ones. By telling everyone to hold off on judging any ideas, you create this safe space where truly innovative, out-of-the-box thinking can actually happen. For now, no ideas about idea.
Okay, now it's time to make all those cool ideas feel real. The prototype stage is where we create really simple, inexpensive, scaled-down versions of our solutions. This is where those abstract concepts start to become tangible things you can see and touch.
And a prototype can be anything. It could be a rough sketch on a napkin, a role-playing exercise, or a clickable mock-up on a screen. The whole point isn't to build the final product. It's to learn as much as you can, as fast as you can, and as cheap as you can. It lets the team see what's working and what's not long before they commit tons of time and money to a bad idea. And that brings us to the final stage, test. This is the moment of truth. We take our prototypes and put them in the hands of real users to get their raw, unfiltered feedback. This is where our solution meets reality, and we find out if we're actually on the right track.
When we're testing with real people, we're gathering that direct, honest feedback. And we don't just ask them, so what do you think? We watch them. We observe how they actually interact with the prototype. And all of that valuable input feeds directly back into the process, so we can refine and tweak the solution in this continuous loop until it just clicks.
So when you put all these pieces together, you start to see that design thinking is so much more than just a 5-step process. It really represents a fundamental shift in how we think about solving problems in the first place. Think about it this way. Traditional problem solving can get stuck analyzing the past, right? Just dissecting what's wrong with the current situation. But a solution-based approach like design thinking is all about actively creating a better future. It's forward-looking, it's imaginative, and it's optimistic. And at the end of the day, that's the whole point. The entire reason this mindset and this framework exist is to create innovations that aren't just clever or technologically cool, but are deeply impactful and genuinely relevant to the human beings who are actually going to use them. So I'll just leave you with this to chew on. Take a look around you, at your job, in your community, even in your day-to-day life. What's one challenge, big or small, that could be completely transformed if you started not with the problem itself, but by truly, deeply understanding the person at the very center of it all?